While everyone's lining up to overpay for hyped-up bikes with sport in the name, these 10 brand-new motorcycles are sitting in showrooms, untouched. They're cheap, reliable, and actually fun to ride. But here's the kicker. Once people catch on, they'll vanish. So if you wait, you'll be paying used bike prices for showroom regrets. Let's break down the new bikes nobody's buying, and why that's a huge mistake. 1. Honda CRF 300L Rally. Think of it like a Swiss Army knife with knobby tires. The Honda CRF 300L doesn't care about status, just results. It's not flashy. It's not loud. It just keeps going and going, while your fancy ADV bike cries in the garage. Emotive description vibe. This thing is pure dual sport DNA. No ego, no frills. 1 minute you're lane splitting through traffic, the next you're chasing deer trails behind a gas station like you're in a GoPro commercial. It's light, nimble, and doesn't make you feel like you're straddling a space shuttle. The Rally trim even throws in that Dakar-style front fairing so you can pretend you're on an epic cross-desert mission, even if you're just late for coffee. Technical overview. Under the tank, you've got a 286cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder pumping out around 27 horsepower. Weight? Just 309 pounds wet. It's got long travel suspension, 10+ inches front and rear, a 21-inch front wheel for trail cred, and enough ground clearance to make a Jeep blush. Fuel injection, a 6-speed gearbox, and a low-maintenance attitude. Basically, it's too simple to fail. Ownership value MSRP is just around $5,699, and the Rally comes in at $6,149. Used ones? They get snapped up fast, so if you find one under $5K, buy it before some dad named Rick does. You could blow that money on an Apple Vision Pro and stare at fake trails in VR, or buy this and live it for real. No subscriptions. No BS. The CRF 300L is the bike that doesn't brag, because it's too busy doing. And if you wait too long, the guy who just passed you on a fire road will be the one telling his friends, "Yeah man, best $5K I ever spent." 2. Honda Rebel 300. This is the cruiser equivalent of a reliable situationship. Low drama, easy to handle, won't ghost you, and looks way cooler than it has any right to. The Rebel 300 is what happens when Honda builds a chill bike for real people, not guys with tribal sleeve tattoos and $20K Harleys. It's got that low-slung, blacked-out attitude that makes you feel like a rebel, even if you're just headed to Trader Joe's. Twist the throttle and it hums like it knows your secrets. It's approachable, forgiving, and just edgy enough that no one questions your manhood when you park it next to a road glide. Technical overview. Under the matte finish skin is a 286cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine with 25 horsepower and a 6-speed transmission. It weighs just 364 pounds wet, which means you can actually pick it up yourself if you drop it. And thanks to a 27.2-inch seat height, anyone from 5'2" to 6'2" can flat-foot it like a boss. Fuel injection? Check. Anti-lock brakes? Optional. Vibes? Certified. Ownership value. MSRP, around $4,849, which is wild considering people drop more on a Pit Viper sunglasses collection. Used ones? Often float between $3,200, $4,000, and they hold their value because people actually want them. This is the bike you buy now, before everyone realizes it's basically a Harley Sportster Diet Edition that doesn't leak. The Rebel 300 doesn't scream, it smirks. And in 5 years, when beginner riders are scrambling for something cool, cheap, and rideable, you'll be the guy saying, "Told you." 3. Honda CB 300R. You want a naked bike with real attitude, minimal weight, and max swagger, without selling a kidney? Meet the CB 300R. It's like if Bruce Lee was a motorcycle, light, fast, and doesn't waste time with fluff. Emotive description, vibe. Riding this thing feels like parkour on wheels. It's sharp, it's clean, and it handles like it read your mind 3 seconds ago. Whether you're carving through traffic or bombing a back road, the CB 300R doesn't just keep up, it dares you to go faster. And with its futuristic minimalist styling, you'll look like you belong in a Netflix cyberpunk reboot. Technical overview. Rocking a 286cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder, putting down 31 horsepower. Weight? A stupid light 317 pounds wet. Seriously, you could probably bench it. Inverted forks, LED lighting, a digital dash, and ABS as standard. That's tech you usually see on bikes twice the price, packed into something you could afford on a student budget. Ownership value MSRP is $5,149, but deals float around $4,800 new, and used ones dip into the $3,500 range. That's cheaper than your buddy's investment gaming PC that he uses to lose in Call of Duty. Want something that turns heads without draining your savings? This is it. The CB300R is the kind of bike that stays cool long after trends die. And once the hype crowd realizes they've been sleeping on a sleeper, they'll come running. By then, you'll already be 5,000 miles deep into the best decision you ever made. 4. Suzuki GSX 250R ABS. This one's the quiet kid in class who turns out to be a black belt. Everyone overlooks it, until it shows up, throws down, and disappears before you can say, wait, that's only a 250? The GSX 250R isn't built to flex, it's built to last. Riding this bike is like having a chill best friend who always shows up, never asks for gas money, and doesn't judge your bad decisions. It's smooth, planted, and way more refined than you'd expect for a bike that costs less than a month of rent in LA. It's the kind of machine that doesn't demand attention, but earns your respect. Technical overview. Powered by a 248cc parallel twin engine, tuned for low and mid-range torque, aka real-world riding. You get around 25 horsepower, a 6-speed gearbox, and fuel injection for crisp throttle response. ABS? Standard. Ergonomics? Comfy as hell. Fuel economy? Try 70 plus mpg, baby. It's built for commuting, weekend rides, and making you forget why people drop $10K plus on bigger bikes that do the same job, but worse. Ownership value. MSRP is just $5,099, which, let's be real, is less than what half of you have spent modding a Grom. And used? Often under $4,000 with low miles because people buy them, love them, and then get lured away by marketing hype. The smart ones? They hold on to them like rare Pokemon cards, because bikes this good at this price don't stay cheap forever. This bike's not here to win your Instagram feed. It's here to win your trust. And when prices spike in 2 years and your buddy says, man, I should have bought one back then, you'll just smile, because you did. Ready for the next beast? Up next, CF Moto 450 SR SRS, the budget sport bike that punches way above its price. Want it? CF Moto 450 SR SRS Intro Tease, Emotional Hook. Imagine walking into a Ducati showroom with a fake Rolex and walking out with a Panigale. That's what riding the CF Moto 450 SR feels like. It looks like it costs 12 grand, but somehow it doesn't. This thing has more presence than bikes twice its price. Aerodynamic winglets. LED everything. A full-color TFT dash. You roll up on this and people think you're about to hit the track or star in a Fast and Furious spin-off. Twist the throttle and it doesn't whimper. It growls. It's the kind of bike that makes you feel faster just sitting on it. Even if you're late to work, again. Technical overview. A 449cc parallel twin with a 270 degrees crank. Yes, the same firing order as Yamaha's MT-07. Puts out 50 horsepower. It's got inverted forks, Brembo front calipers, a slipper clutch, and ABS, all standard. Wet weight? Around 370 pounds. That's light enough to flick around corners and still stable enough for high-speed drama. Ownership value MSRP? Around $5,999. That's not a typo. That's criminal. For reference, that's less than a used Ninja 400 with an eBay exhaust and a cracked fairing. And with the way this bike's turning heads, it won't stay this cheap forever. Seriously, the aftermarket is already waking up. Closing emotional punch. The CF Moto 450 SR isn't just a bargain. It's a glitch in the matrix. And when the big brands finally realize they've been outclassed by a budget bike, this thing's price is going way up. Grab one now, or spend the next year watching YouTubers call it the bike they regret sleeping on. Let's keep it rolling. Up next is the Triumph Speed 400. Ready for the British invasion? 6. Triumph Speed 400. It's like James Bond in a leather jacket. Classy, controlled, and absolutely capable of kicking your ass. The Triumph Speed 400 brings that iconic British cool, without the British repair bills. Emotive description, vibe. This bike feels like you just walked into a vintage whiskey bar and ordered a shot of adrenaline. It's retro but sharp. Modern but soulful. You ride this thing and people don't see starter bike, they see style. It's that rare mix of cafe racer class and everyday practicality. No ego. Just cool. Technical overview. Powered by a 398cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine with 39 horsepower. Lightweight chassis, slip-assist clutch, 6-speed gearbox, all tuned for street fun and backroad thrills. Inverted forks, bi-bree brakes, that's Brembo's younger cousin, and dual-channel ABS keep things planted and safe. And it sounds surprisingly throaty for a single. Triumph gave it just enough bark to turn heads without blowing eardrums. Ownership value MSRP? Just $4,995. Yeah, a legit Triumph for under $5K. That's insane. Like, this must be a trap insane. Used ones are already hard to find because the smart riders snatched them up before the hipsters caught on. You wait, and these will be flipping for $6K with a dent and a vintage patina sticker. The Speed 400 is proof that you don't need a giant engine or giant wallet to ride in style. It's affordable today. But give it 6 months, and it'll be collector bait. Get in now, or risk telling your grandkids, yeah, I almost bought one when it was cheap. Next up, the Goat Trail King. Ready? Let's hit the dirt. Here comes the most rugged value warrior on the list, 7. Royal Enfield Himalayan, 410/450ths. This is the bike you take when GPS ends, and Google says, you're on your own, bro. The Royal Enfield Himalayan is like a steel mule with a fuel tank. Slow, simple, and impossible to kill. Emotive description, vibe, it's not fast. It's not flashy. But it will get you to places your buddy's $18,000 ADV bike won't, mostly because he's too scared to drop it. The Himalayan doesn't care if you're covered in mud, low on gas, or completely lost. It just keeps chugging along, like a loyal dog in helmet form. You don't ride this bike to impress people. You ride it to disappear. Technical overview. The 411cc, or 450cc in the new gen, air/oil-cooled single, puts out 2440 GP depending on version. Not a rocket, but torquey enough to climb a mountain in second gear. It has long travel suspension, a 21 inches front wheel, 8.6 inches of ground clearance, and racks for all your apocalypse gear. The new 450 adds liquid cooling, more power, TFT nav screen, and improved handling, but keeps that ride anywhere, fixed with a wrench spirit. Ownership value MSRP starts around $5,450, $5,750, depending on version and country. That's pocket change in the ADV world. Try finding another bike that comes adventure-ready out of the crate for that price. Used ones? Dirt cheap, if you can even find one someone's willing to part with. And with ADV demand rising? You blink, you miss. Closing emotional punch. The Himalayan isn't the bike you brag about at Starbucks. It's the one that actually gets you out there. If you want flashy Instagram photos, look elsewhere. But if you want memories worth making, this is your ride. Buy it before RE realizes they've underpriced the most honest ADV bike on the planet. Next up, simple, thumpy, and full of old-school charm. Let's do it. Let's bring on the single-cylinder cruiser that refuses to die. 8. Suzuki Boulevard S40, LS 650. The Boulevard S40 is like that quiet guy at the bar sipping a bourbon, watching the chaos. He doesn't say much, but if things go sideways, he's the one riding out of town before the smoke clears. This bike is pure unapologetic simplicity. One big cylinder. One belt drive. Zero drama. Hop on, thumb the starter, and thump your way down the road like it's 1992 and you've got nowhere to be. It's the cruiser that doesn't care if you wear a jacket or just a white tank top in confidence. Technical overview. The S40 rocks a 652cc air-cooled single-cylinder with 31 horsepower and 37 lb-ft of torque. That thumper engine gives you old-school vibes with modern reliability. It weighs just 381 pounds wet, light enough for new riders, but planted enough to cruise all day. Belt drive = 0 chain maintenance. 27.6 inches seat height, = flat foot chill. No touchscreen. No ride modes. Just gas, go and grin. Ownership value MSRP? around $5,799. But used? You'll find them between $3,000, $4,000 all day, sometimes with saddlebags thrown in like a Craigslist bonus. It's the cruiser you can afford and trust. And here's the kicker. Suzuki doesn't even make them new anymore. So whatever's out there, that's it. This is the motorcycle equivalent of a denim jacket passed down from your uncle who never sold out. If you want tech and trends, scroll on. But if you want a bike with soul, one that thumps, rumbles, and keeps riding no matter what, the Boulevard S40 is waiting. Just don't wait too long. These things vanish faster than a cheap six-pack on Friday night. Up next, the forgotten classic that still slaps. Ready? Let's kick it back to an underrated classic that deserves a comeback. 9. Kawasaki Ninja 500R X500. Before TikTok, before ride modes, before $20,000 entry-level bikes, there was the Ninja 500R. This bike didn't just teach generations how to ride. It taught them how to love riding. Riding an X500 feels like finding your old Walkman and realizing the music still slaps. It's raw, mechanical, and honest. There's no traction control, no electronic babysitting. Just you, the throttle, and that glorious 500cc growl. It doesn't care if you're new or experienced. It just wants to be ridden. Fast, smooth, and loud enough to wake your neighbor's dog. Technical overview. Powered by a 498cc liquid-cooled parallel twin that puts out around 50 GP. Lightweight, just under 440 pounds wet, with a 6-speed gearbox and carburetors that'll make modern riders sweat. But that's the charm. It's analog, it's gritty, and it teaches you everything you need to know about real throttle control. Plus it'll do highway, canyon, commute, all without breaking a sweat. Ownership value. You can pick one up for $1,800, $3,000 depending on condition. That's not a deal, that's robbery. And because it was built for 2 decades straight, 1987-2009, there's a mountain of parts, mods, and forums out there keeping them alive. Everyone's busy chasing new plastic. Meanwhile, these things are quietly turning into the best forgotten buy in sport bike history. Closing emotional punch. The Ninja 500R isn't flashy. It's not trendy. But if you want a bike with grit, legacy, and real rider respect, this is it. People say they want simple, reliable bikes. Then they skip the one that defined the category. Don't sleep. These are getting rarer, and smart riders are already collecting them. Next and last, the ultimate sleeper starter bike. Let's bring it home with the ultimate I wish I'd bought one bike. 10. Suzuki GS500 GS500F. If motorcycles had an underground fight club, the GS500 would be the guy no one bets on, until he knocks out 3 guys in 1 round and walks off without saying a word. Quiet, tough, and criminally underpriced. This is the starter bike that never stopped being good. The GS500 doesn't care about looking cool. It is cool. No fluff. No drama. Just that old school feeling of riding because it feels good. It doesn't insult you with electronics. It hands you 2 wheels, a throttle, and says, let's see what you've got. Technical overview. A 487cc air/oil-cooled parallel twin, with approximately 40-52 horsepower depending on the year. Steel frame, 5-speed gearbox, and basic but solid suspension. It's light, approximately 390 lbs, nimble, easy to maintain, and basically unkillable. Fuel economy? 50+ mpg. Power delivery? Smooth. And it's not intimidating, until you twist that throttle and realize, oh yeah, this thing moves. Ownership value used GS500S float between $1,200, $2,500. That's less than some people spend on tires for their BMWs. They're often owned by people who actually took care of them. Mechanics, commuters, track day junkies who knew a good thing when they saw it. You wait too long, and these will go the way of the Ninja 250, rare, loved, and weirdly expensive. The GS500 is a humble legend, the kind of bike that never got loud, but always showed up. If you're lucky enough to find one in good shape, don't overthink it. Just buy it. Because one day soon, someone's going to write an article titled, 10 Classic Bikes We Wish We Never Sold. And this? This will be number 1. Alright, be honest. How many of these bikes did you scroll past on Craigslist thinking they were too slow or too cheap to be good? Now you know better. But here's the real question. If you could only rescue one of these bikes from obscurity, which one would it be? Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious which of these budget beasts you'd bet your ride on. And hey, if you're the guy who already owns one of these, flex it. Let us know what it's like. Hit that like button if you're tired of overpriced hype machines, and subscribe for more brutally honest bike breakdowns. Ride smart. Ride broke. Ride happy. See you in the next one.